On this screencast, I'm going to walk you through some pretty basic Microsoft Word tools. I'm going to talk first of all about the default setting for line spacing and spacing after that comes when you install Word on your computer. And then we're going to talk about margins, a hard page break, line spacing, and alignment. So the first thing is the default setting when Word is installed on your computer or when you open it up on your school computer here. The default setting is to have a little bit of extra space added after every paragraph or every time you hit enter, plus a little bit of extra space in between each line. If you are doing documents required for the legal assistant program, for example, or the unit clerk, or many other programs, these programs want the line spacing to be single and the spacing after to be either single or double spaced. So I'm going to show you where that setting is. In your Word document, if you click on the dialog box launcher in the paragraph group, and come on, there you go. Okay, so here it is right here. The two things you're looking for here are in the spacing section. You want to change the spacing after to 0 and change the line spacing to single, and click on the default button, and what that will do is that will make the change for every time you open up Word on your home computer. Now if you're doing this here on campus, unfortunately every time you log off, the default settings reinstate themselves. So every time you open up a new copy of Word on campus, you're going to have to reset that line spacing and spacing after section. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is hard page breaks. Now, if you find yourself hitting enter at the end of a page to force a new page, what you want to do is to use a hard page break instead. It's neater, it's going to save you more time later on if you have to go and edit your document, and it's strongly required in some of the courses that you're taking depending on what program you're in. So for example, I have a document here with a paragraph that flows over onto the second page, and what I want to do is to have that entire paragraph starting on the second page. Now oftentimes, as I said, what some people do is they are just going to hit enter a whole bunch of times and just push that paragraph down. What that does, if later on you have to make some changes to that document, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit here. If you had to, let's say you had to remove a couple of paragraphs in the middle of your document, and what that's going to do is that's going to move that paragraph back up and put a great big space in your document, and it's going to take you extra time to clean that up. I'm just hitting the undo button here to undo all of this. So rather than using enter to force a new page, use a hard page break. The easiest way to do that is to use a keyboard shortcut. So if you hold your control key down on your keyboard with one hand and press and release the enter key with the other hand, that forces a hard page break. I'm going to turn the show hide button on here and show you what that looks like. So that's what that page break looks like right there. If later on you have to remove some paragraphs and you want to keep this paragraph on the new page, removing the paragraphs with the page break there, it just allows anything after that page break to sit where it was. If you wanted to move that paragraph now back up on this page, you can just click anywhere on the page break, hit your delete key, and that will move it back up there. So that's the hard page break. I'm just going to increase the size of this document a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to turn off the show hide key again, and I'm going to go back to the beginning of the document. So some really basic things here. margins, for example. The default setting in Office 2007 is to have a 1-inch margin all the way around. If you want to change the margin, it's in the Page Layout tab. There's the margin tool right there, and it has a whole bunch of preset margins. If you want to just change one of the 4 margins, go to Custom Margin, and you can play around with the top, bottom, left, and right margins right there. What that will do is that will change every page on your document, so it will change the margins for your document. If you want to change the line spacing in your document, this document is single spaced. If I wanted it to be double spaced, I'm going to go back onto my Home tab here in the top left hand corner, and I've got a couple of different spacing tools. Now my cursor right now is sitting in the first paragraph, and if I change the spacing in that paragraph simply by, let's say I want to double space it, click on 2, and that double spaces that paragraph. It doesn't touch any of the other paragraphs. Now if I want to change the spacing for the entire document, I need to select the document if I already have text there, and I can do that really easily. So I'm highlighting the document. I can do it really easily by holding the Control key down and pressing and releasing the A key. That's A for all, and that selects the entire document. And then I can go back and change the line spacing to double, and that changes the spacing in the entire document. Okay. If you are starting with a blank document and you want to change the line spacing, just do it at the beginning of the document, and then all the text that you add to the document will automatically be double spaced. The last thing I want to talk about is alignment. So I have a title here, and I want this title to be centered. And rather than hitting your space bar or hitting your tab key on your keyboard to center it, which never really does it perfectly and takes longer, the easiest thing to do is to simply click anywhere on the title, and in the paragraph dialog box you have these alignment tools. They're quite self-explanatory. There's the center tool. I'm going to click on that, and that centers the title. No fuss, no muss, really easy, and you're in and out really quickly. So there are some very basic word processing tools.